Security teams and developers should be alarmed by a critical vulnerability in React Server components, a core part of many Node.js-based applications that has already triggered a surge of attacks against connected devices in home environments. This video is sponsored by Stonefly. More on that at the end of the video. This flaw, tracked as a critical remote code execution issue, allows an unauthenticated attacker to send crafted requests that exploit unsafe handling of serialized data and result in execution of arbitrary commands on the server side. In the days after the vulnerability was publicly disclosed, researchers observed hundreds of thousands of attempted exploit events every day targeting exposed devices. Home appliances such as smart plugs, security cameras, network-attached storage devices, routers, and even smart televisions have been probed, demonstrating how attacker tooling has rapidly incorporated this flaw for mass scanning and compromise. The underlying weakness stems from how the server component of React deserializes structured data without sufficient validation, letting an attacker pollute internal application objects and reach code paths where they can invoke system-level command functions in the Node.js runtime. Unlike typical user interface bugs that only affect front-end behavior, this issue touches the back-end logic of applications, so simply updating a user interface library is not enough. Entire application stacks that rely on these server components must be patched. For developers and operators, the attack path begins with a single crafted HTTP request to a server endpoint that processes serialized component data. Because no authentication is required and default deployments are often exposed to the public internet, attackers can automate exploitation at scale. Honeypots and threat intelligence sensors have confirmed that tens of thousands of vulnerable services remain reachable by attackers, even after initial awareness of the flaw grew. In many scans, a single source of exploitation traffic was responsible for thousands of events in just a short period, showing how aggressively botnets are now incorporating this weakness into their routines. This mass exploitation has made smart home ecosystems particularly vulnerable. Devices that host Node.js services, common in customizable smart devices and small office systems, lack the same patch management rigor as cloud or enterprise servers. A compromised device can be coerced into executing arbitrary code, which could be used to install persistent malware, enlist the device in a botnet, manipulate local network traffic, or steal sensitive information. The broader context is that this vulnerability affects a wide ecosystem of applications built on Node.js and frameworks that leverage React Server components. It is not limited to a single application or use case. Mitigation requires immediate action from developers and administrators, updating React Server component libraries to the latest patched versions, rebuilding and redeploying affected applications, and applying network-level protections such as firewalls and web request filters to block exploitation patterns. Smart device vendors must also push patches to device firmware and user-facing applications to close the gap. Monitoring for unusual command execution, unexpected outbound connections, and anomalous process behavior will help detect whether an exploitation attempt has been successful. The fact that this vulnerability became a focal point of mass automated attacks within days of disclosure highlights the need to treat web application dependencies and their server components with the same urgency as critical infrastructure software. And now a word from our sponsor. Get a 70 terabytes iSCSI and Fiber Channel SAN storage appliance for $9,995. Contact sales at stonefly.com to schedule a demo. Subscribe for more cybersecurity news. Thank you for watching.